I don't remember. Obviously, as a kid, I wouldn't have heard it anyway. But obviously, the 1993 was like rock with scandals. Stemming from like the last year or two with Tom Cole, and Ultimate Warrior started suing them, and the federal investigation and everything. Why did that not affect the popularity of the WWF in the UK? Do you know? Because I never remember hearing anything on the news about any of that.
Maybe because you never heard that. Because I remember that there was a point. There's actually two times. There was that point in the 90s, and then there was another point in the like 2003, I think, where it was seriously like, I mean, it was never like it was going to happen, but I mean, I talked to people in the company. It was like, we may end up being this touring European promotion, and work a lot more in Europe because the United States was doing so badly at those 2 points in time. But yeah, I'd say 92 after Hogan. I mean, the thing with WWF in the United States is when you look back on it historically, they had built everything around Hogan from 84 on. And when Hogan left, which was WrestleMania 1982, I think that more than anything else, it's just that lack of Hogan, just the whole thing. I don't want to say collapsed because that's too strong of a word, but it went way down. And I think that's because it was so much star driven by the one star. And I think it's one of the reasons why Vince, number one, he won't make that larger than life superstar. He'll try to make 5 or 6 guys or 10 guys or whatever, because even if it's not as big, like John Cena left and the business didn't go to hell. Hulk Hogan left and the business went to hell. So I think that was a learning experience.
Well, actually, sort of preempted my next question there. So how, with all the scandals and lawsuits and everything, and Geraldo Rivera, and we never got that guy. What was the guy with the mustache?
Geraldo Rivera.
Thank you. Was that the one? You weren't on that one, were you?
I didn't do Geraldo Rivera. I was on with Phil Donahue.
Phil Donahue.
I
suppose my ignorance here slightly.
Which they were both very famous guys in the 90s at the time. Yeah.
The question I was going to ask is, how much did that actually affect wrestling's popularity in the United States? Because obviously, as I said, it didn't really affect the UK at all. But was it more Hogan leaving, or
I think it's more Hogan. I think it's more Hogan leaving and the bloom being off the Hogan rose. Because when Hogan came back, it didn't go up nearly as much as we thought it would, and then Hogan left again because it didn't. Things had changed. But I think that all of that, like I said, like Hogan had this, like he was still popular to wrestling fans, but I think to the public, it was kind of like, the guy who lied about steroids. So it really hurt his drawing power outside of the hardcore wrestling fans who didn't care. So I think that, and in turn, because WWF was built around him, that was, they felt the brunt of not having that big star because Vince, whatever the deal was for 92. And I don't know. I mean, Vince was talking to me at the time, and I remember him calling me and saying, that Hogan's going to be done at WrestleMania. I was shocked. But then after thinking about it, I wasn't, because Hogan had become a lightning rod. And I think Vince felt it was better for him to go away. And I think Vince wanted Hogan. He never told me this. My sense was that Vince wanted Hogan to go to that WrestleMania in 92 and retire and be sympathetic and then stay out a year so people would come back. When he came back a year later for the next WrestleMania, everybody would be excited and they would forget about the scandal. That's what I thought Vince wanted. But then Hogan refused to retire on that show and just kind of left. And so it was kind of like this muddled thing. So when he came back, yeah, it was big, but it didn't, but when he came back, it wasn't the same Hulk Hogan as far as like people were concerned. The business for that WrestleMania was still good, but when he started running around at the house shows, with Yokozuna, I mean, it didn't draw well at all. And then, because of that, him and Vince figured they had to move on from Hogan and go to Brett, and Hogan just decided he'd rather leave than lose to Brett.
Yeah, it was in Europe, I think, his last match for the WWF for like nearly 10 years, whatever it was as well. He did the European tour and he went.
He did the European tour, and then that was it. Right. I think that it was before, because I think it was I actually think that I first heard from Jimmy Hart, who had told me, it's like, yeah, he's going to do the European tour and he's gone. And I was thinking, gone? You know what I mean? It's like I was shocked. And then, in time, it all kind of came out as to why. And it's like, then I understood Hogan wanted to be the top guy, and Vince had figured the Hogan day was over and it was time for Brett, and Hogan just didn't want to be around.
All right, so I'm going to go on a slight detour. It is Hulk Hogan related, so I'm sorry for boring you on Hulk Hogan, but Greg Gagne gave an interview a few years ago, and he claimed, and I've even got the numbers in front of me, and I even read the interview, saw the interview today, so I didn't get it wrong. He claimed in 1991 the AWA was going to restart, and that they had lured Hulk Hogan over for $6 million over 4 years to restart the AWA. Have you ever heard of that rumor, or is that just Greg? I even asked Larry Zbyszko, and he's it's probably just Greg making nonsense up.
It sounds like just making stuff up, because something that big, if it would have happened at the time, I can't imagine I wouldn't have heard. I can't even imagine, because, you know, I was connected with everybody, and if Hogan would have heard the story, I'd have certainly heard, you know, whether it was from Jimmy Hart or from people who talked to Hogan, you know, other people who talked to Hogan and other people in WWE and whatever. It's like, so I would put no credence in that. I mean, I heard of a million different things that Hogan was up to in that period. And, you know, there was always different ideas, and people were always throwing stuff at him, for sure. You know, these things that, you know, you hear about, but they never come through. But that wasn't one of them. You know, there was never one with Vern Gagne and Greg Gagne. That's for sure.
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
Enough is enough! Rudy Poo Gagne! I had him writhing in pain from my sharpshooter. Rocky! I am not a nugget!
Stick him straight up your candy ass!
I kicked your leg out of your leg.
The Rock has come back!